Good evening and many thanks for joining us live on QTV. You are watching QTV News and I am Ajibintu Drame. Into our top stories. President Adama Barrow on Monday received China's ambassador to the Gambia, whose diplomatic mission in the Gambia is about to end. In another diplomatic engagement, an inauguration ceremony was organized on Saturday for the new honorary consul of the Republic of Côte d'Ivoire, also known as the Ivory Coast, in the Gambia. In international news, the Global Platform for Disaster Risk Reduction is underway in Bali, Indonesia. It is the main global forum to assess and discuss progress on the implementation of the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction. And in sports, Neymar United are champions of the 2022 Kafuta League Cup following a dramatic match which seemed to have everything. Those were our main headlines. Now the news in detail. Now, President Adama Barrow on Monday received China's ambassador to the Gambia, whose diplomatic mission is about to end. The outgoing ambassador with a delegation had a meeting with the president at the State House. Mobulami Choi reports.
China's ambassador to the Gambia, Ma Jianchun, meets President Adama Barrow in what might be his final bilateral meeting with the head of state. Ambassador Ma Jianchun's diplomatic mission is about to end after years of service in the Gambia. Over the years, during President Adama Barrow's government, Banjul and Beijing have strengthened bilateral cooperation that have yielded remarkable infrastructure development in the Gambia. Ambassador Ma Jianchun talks to the press after his meeting with President Adama Barrow.
Under the guidance of His Excellency President Xi Jinping and His Excellency President Barrow, we made a joint effort to promote our cooperation in various fields and achieved yield fruitful outcomes. The political mutual trust between our two countries has been deepened. We support each other in the international affairs.
China's ambassador lists the infrastructure development projects that were started and completed through the China-Gambia cooperation.
We worked together to build the International Conference Center, which already become the popular venue for the conference and the seminars. We worked together to build the road and bridges in UR, which brings the Gambian people with living convenience and economic progress.
The People's Republic of China's cooperation with the Gambia also covers interventions in the health and agriculture sectors to boost productivity and healthcare services.
The Chinese agriculture experts worked with the Gambia farmers hand in hand, striving for security of the countries. The Chinese medical team also worked together with the Gambian counterparts to fight against the COVID-19 and provide health service to the Gambian people.
Ambassador Ma takes the opportunity before the press to reflect on his diplomatic mission in the Gambia, depicting it as an honor and pleasurable experience over the years.
During my tenure, I did all my best within my capacity to promote our cooperation and friendship. I also forged the friendship with the Gambia friends. Apart from my work, I also visited many places in the Gambia. I visited all the provinces and the major towns in the Gambia. I enjoyed the beautiful view of this wonderland.
China's new ambassador is expected to soon arrive in the Gambia to take off from Ma Jianchun. The People's Republic of China and the Gambia look forward to further strengthening relations and cooperation to achieve mutual benefits for both countries. Mohamed Lamin Choy, QTV News.
An inauguration ceremony was organized on Saturday for the new honorary consul of the Republic of Cote d'Ivoire, also known as Ivory Coast, in the Gambia. The event was attended by the ambassador of Cote d'Ivoire, members of the diplomatic corps, and senior government officials. Mohamed Lamin Choy again.
After the death of its long-serving Gambian honorary consul, Pa Obi Konate, in 2019, a new one has been recently nominated and approved by President Adama Barrow. He is Papa Yusuf Njai, the CEO of the Unique Solution Group of Companies. The honorary consul receives a delegation led by the ambassador of Ivory Coast based in Dakar and jointly representing his country in Senegal, Gambia, Cape Verde, and Guinea-Bissau. This is the official inauguration of Papa Yusuf Njai, who has started his diplomatic duty by setting up an office and launched a website to ease services of the honorary consulate. The consul takes Ambassador Toure and his delegation on a tour of the new consulate building. After the inauguration of the consulate, a reception was held at a local lodge in Fajara with some invited guests. The permanent secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Suleiman Omar Njai, congratulates and assures Honorary Consul Njai of the ministry's support and cooperation while serving in the honorary consulate. And
he also needs to make sure that he enhances the cooperation people to people. It is very important. There is a very good contingent of Ivorian nationals here in the Gambia, and they engage in various sectors of the productive economy of the country. I think with his intentions, we will see an enlarged cooperation because not everything can be done by embassies and ministries of foreign affairs.
The Ivorian ambassador, Lieutenant General Toure Sekou, points out that the reopening of the honorary consulate in Banjul is to redefine the existing bilateral relationship between the Gambia and Ivory Coast by exploring the proximity between the two West African countries with particular focus on commerce, culture, trade and art.
This is in line with trying with an attempt to redynamize the exchanges between the Republic of Ivory Coast and the Gambia.
Je crois que cela constitue aujourd'hui le rôle principal de Monsieur le Consul honoraire de Côte d'Ivoire en Gambie.
This is actually the principal role of the honorary consular of the Republic of Ivory Coast in the Gambia today.
Ivory Coast honorary consul Papa Yusuf Njai thanks the Gambia government, especially the Foreign Affairs Ministry, for his nomination to his new diplomatic position. Consul Njai also pledges to work closely with the Gambia government and Ivory Coast Embassy in Dakar to represent the interests of Ivory Coast in the Gambia as required by his office.
We hope that a stronger relationship between the two countries will pave a way for investment from both countries, playing a crucial role in the socio-economic development of our countries in terms of the levels of foreign direct investment between the two countries. You know, it's very abnormal that as West Africans or as Africans, there's very little trade among us. But we want to respond to the AFCTA, the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Act, and to take advantage of the ECOWAS ETLS scheme.
The event also sees Ivory Coast ambassador presenting his country's national flag and other symbols, marking the official handing over of diplomatic authority to Honorary Consul Papa Yusuf Njai. Ambassador Toure presents an award to the family of the late Honorary Consul of Ivory Coast in the Gambia in honor of his more than 3-decade-long service to the Republic of Ivory Coast. Mohamed Lamin Choy, QTV News.
Today, the 23rd of May, is International Day to End Obstetric Fistula, a condition that affects many girls and women during childbirth, especially in developing countries. More in this report by Babukar Cisse on an event by the UNFPA, the Ministry of Gender and Children's Affairs and partners highlighting issues around obstetric fistula and the Gambia Zero Fistula campaign.
Obstetric fistula is a hole in the birth canal caused by protracted obstructed labor in the absence of timely medical care, leaving women to leak urine and feces. Most of the pregnancies in which the woman develops fistula result in stillbirth. If not treated, it can lead to infection, disease, and infertility, and sufferers can face stigma and isolation. Dr. Abubakar Jah, Medical Director, spoke about what it means to have the condition and how they are treated.
Urine is coming out all the time. They cannot go to the bathroom all the time to wash themselves because every minute it is coming out. Every minute it is coming out. So they get smelly. Their private part gets rashes. They are ashamed to come out because they don't want to come out anywhere anybody perceives their smell. And it is because you have not been able to deliver the baby in time. Most of them, their babies die. So you've lost your baby. You've developed a hole inside your bladder. You are leaking urine. The next person you lose will be your husband. The relatives also leave the woman to stay in a very isolated place. A lot of them stay near the toilet on not even a mattress because they cannot lie down on a mattress. The mattress will be soaked with urine. And they are left in that condition, no longer like human beings. So they're no longer humans.
Fatu Dumbuya, who survived fistula, thanked her husband for standing by her during the most difficult time. She called on those living with the condition to come forward and get treatment while explaining her experience.
I visited a health facility and I was told I have a fistula. I spent days there and I was operated. I later realized that the condition did not go well. After 3 months, I got pregnant and I was told that because of the condition, I have to go a C-section. After giving birth, the condition gets worse. I live in pain and shame for 3 months. One day, I received a call from Ministry of Health. This call saved me. I was finally properly repaired.
Fatu Kinte, the Minister for Gender, thanked UNFPA and the First Lady for making the event a success. Her ministry, she says, has been combating fistula and promoting women's health through community empowerment.
The strategies aimed at tackling the complex circumstances and conditions that contribute to the development of obstetric fistula in our various communities. This includes poverty, child marriage, prolonged labor, lack of male involvement in childbirth issues, FGM, just to name a few. In addressing the lack of male involvement in childbirth and financial difficulties faced by women during pregnancy, the Kabilo Bama initiative.
Ndero Sar, the UNFPA country rep, urged governments and relevant organizations to make fistula treatment accessible for women.
It is not enough to only remind ourselves of the devastating condition many women around the world are facing with obstetric fistula, but to commit ourselves to ensure their life dignified. As we reflect on this year's theme, it is critical for the government of the Gambia and all its partners, including the UN system, to double our efforts so that health systems are strengthened and women can access quality health care in health facilities nearest to their homes.
The First Lady, Fatuba Barrow, says the issues surrounding fistula are complicated, but the condition can be treated.
The fight for obstetric fistula is a fight for human dignity. Indeed, fistula, unlike HIV and AIDS, can be easily prevented and treated if diagnosed properly. However, given the stigma and low awareness associated with this condition, most cases are not reported, also making it difficult to gather accurate data on fistula.
About 2 million women remain untreated in developing countries, and between 50,000 and 100,000 new cases occur each year. Fistula is most common in poor communities in sub-Saharan Africa and Asia, where access to obstetric care is limited. Obstetric fistula is preventable. Unfortunately, the current pandemic affects all these preventable measures in developing countries where obstetric fistula still exists. Babakar Sise, QTV News.
From that story, we will go for a commercial break. Still to come, we have more stories, so stay tuned.
Tabaski ak Style 2022 loolu laa wax de man waaw waaw kay boo gisee nag ñu di ko waajal depuis léegi dañoo bëgg nag yokku cere dolli ñeex li ko waral nag QTV dañu bëgg saa yu ñuy def dara képp ku ci nekk rek gis ci sa bopp moo waral nag this time ñu bëgg koo yokk nag yaatal ko nag géew bi nag dañu ko yaatal boo mu yaatu lool ba tax ñu ngi woo designers yépp ci biir réew mi waaye yow mi nekk sax bitim réew bëgg ñu wane nag say product jokkal ak QTV da ci am solo nag bu baax a baax ba tax nag ki nga xamante ne piis lay jaay ci marché bi bëgg naa wane ay piisam ak ay xeetu piis yi mu yor ñëwal ci biir Tobaski ak Style 2022 moom la ñuy waajal xanaa war naa neex dama ne nag kaay leen ngeen won ma seen mënin ma wax leen seeni cumbukaay ba tax nag jokkoo leen ak ñun ci nu mu gën a gaawee ci 32 44 44 4 ak QTV ak Tobaski ak Style yéen ñi rek ñu tax toog yow rek ci jongoma cey.
To make sure your company's products and services reach your potential customers, it is essential that you choose the right channel for your marketing purposes. QTV has the widest reach locally and beyond, and we can give your business the visibility it needs. Call QTV Marketing on +220 324 4444 or email us at marketing@qtv.gm and take your business to the world.
Welcome back. Now onto international news. The Global Platform for Disaster Risk Reduction is underway in Bali, Indonesia. It is the main global forum to assess and discuss progress on the implementation of the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction. QTV's Jainaba Sonko is among the sponsored media corps by the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, and she now reports.
The Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction is an international document which was adopted by UN member states in March 2015 at the World Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction held in Sendai. Since then, the Global Platform for Disaster Risk Reduction's agenda has been guided by the priorities for action and targets of the framework. This year's Global Platform is taking a closer look at the key priorities identified at the previous Global Platform held in Geneva, Switzerland in 2019. The theme for this year is From Risk to Resilience Towards Sustainable Development for All in a COVID-19 Transformed World. The Gambian delegation is drawn from multiple sectors directly involved in disaster-related matters. Climate hazards in the Gambia include flooding, drought, and sea level rise. A significant hazard is the country's limited ability to predict incidents of some major hazards. Now, what does the Global Platform for Disaster Risk Reduction mean for a country like the Gambia? Here's Ali Ulum, the Gambia's Director of National Early Warning Systems.
I think it means a lot for us. It means that we come in here, we'll go back to be able to address our issues in a more holistic approach, knowing that there is no single entity within the country that can tackle disasters. It has to be a multi-sectoral approach. For me, this is one thing that I've learned here in all the countries that have presented, including our neighboring country presented here on how they are approaching disasters in their country. It has to be multi-sectoral. That's the take-home message.
In 2021, 8,231 households were affected by windstorms and 3,181 households affected by flash floods, directly affecting social activities of families and adding a financial burden on the state. Now, the Global Platform provides a unique and timely opportunity to showcase the importance of international solidarity and cooperation, as well as to discuss ways to tackle underlying risk drivers, both locally and globally. Here is Fatou Tal, the Gambia's Director of Operations at the National Disaster Management Agency.
The only way you can be resilient is being prepared for disasters, upcoming disasters. And from last year's windstorm, flooding, and now we have fire outbreaks, pandemics. This platform here, we're here to learn, and then we transfer our skills back to our country. We're here to build bilaterals with other countries.
Now, the Global Platform for Disaster Risk Reduction is happening at a very, very crucial moment, considering that it's been 7 years since the adoption of the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction and 2 years since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic has exposed inequalities and vulnerabilities across the world. Now, in the next coming days, we will get to hear contributions, comments, and recommendations when it comes to the way forward in times of disasters. Reporting for QTV News from Bali, Indonesia, I am Diana Basonko.
Now onto some sports news. Nema United are champions of the 2022 Kafuta League Cup, winning 4-3 on penalties after 2-2 draw in normal time. The final was in short of drama. Our sports reporter, Mobudu Kajaga, was there and he now reports.
This was one of those finals that had almost everything in it. A late but controversial equalizer, forcing the game to be settled by a penalty shootout, plus stoppages in play due to crowd trouble and hooliganism after a winner was declared. A penalty shootout finally settled the contest between Aston Villa of Kafuta and eventual champions Nema United, winning their first league title. Aston Villa of Kafuta came from behind to lead 2-1 until a late, dramatic, controversial equalizer in the 4th minute of added time leveled the tie. Moro Jite scored to give Nema United the lead in the 19th minute before Andrew Baje leveled for the runners-up. Substitute Abdoulaye Jatta scored to put Villa in the lead with a spectacular header as he was left unmarked. A late free kick for Nema United ensured a nail-biting finish. It is still not clear whether the ball had crossed the line after a shot from a scramble hit the post. However, the goal stood after the referee adjudged that it had. Nema United eventually celebrated after winning the penalty shootout 4-3. Landing Sajo, the winning coach, couldn't hide his joy.
I am the most happiest guy ever right now because I'm not even a born of citizen of Nema. I'm coming from one of the capital called Fulakunda, and I come there and I call them and I'm proud that I give them the trophy, the first trophy they need in their life.
Emmanuel Correa is the president of the Kafuta Sports Development Association. He says their competition was a success despite what looks like the losing team's bitterness and disappointing reaction to their defeat.
The organization is very good. The organization is very good because, like I always say, Kafuta is very strategic. We have villages around, and then most of the villages always come here to participate. So in the village here, we have teams in the village, and they come, other villages come and join hands to have this organization. So this year it's been sponsored by Dabo Jila, and this is the first time that Kafuta has this type of sponsorship.
Bakari Baje, Minister of Youth and Sports, was in attendance and spoke about the final.
You know, we've seen a lot of young people out and the turnout is good. But, you know, the most important thing is sport is growing across the country, especially football. And these are the kind of initiative that we want. Because that's football at the national level is developed at the grassroots, and this is typical of that.
Momodu Gajaga, QTV News.
Well, before we end, here's a recap of our main headlines. President Adama Barrow on Monday received China's ambassador to the Gambia, whose diplomatic mission in the Gambia is about to end. In another diplomatic engagement, an inauguration ceremony was organized on Saturday for the new honorary consul of the Republic of Cote d'Ivoire, also known as Ivory Coast, in the Gambia. The 23rd of May is International Day to End Obstetric Fistula, a condition that affects many girls and women during childbirth, especially in developing countries. We heard about an event commemorating the day and highlighting issues around obstetric fistula as part of the Gambia Zero Fistula campaign. And in international news, the global platform for disaster risk reduction is underway in Bali, Indonesia. It is the main global forum to assess and discuss progress on the implementation of the Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction. And in sports, we heard how Nema United triumphed in the 2022 Kafuta League Cup following a dramatic match which seemed to have everything. That's it from me in tonight's edition. Thank you for watching.